friends! Happy Thursday! We're almost done with the week. I loved seeing you all today, and you're all doing amazing, and you did such a great job today. And it's now time for story time. Today we're going to read The New Bear at School. That's so silly. Bears can't go to school. They're animals. But I think the school is made up of all different animals. Look at the bear's face. Does he look scared? Maybe he's a little excited? Let's see what happens. The day that Miss Cluck said there was going to be a new animal in the class, everyone was very excited. When Miss Cluck said that the new animal was a bear, the other animals squealed with delight. Letitia, the rabbit, wondered if it might be a fluffy pink bear like the one on her lunchbox. Maxwell, the mole, wanted a floppy brown bear with velvet paws. The mice hoped for a bear with Wellingtons and a blue coat. Fergus, the fox cub, thought any teddy bear would be just fine. So when the classroom door opened and Miss Cluck introduced Boris, everyone screamed! For Boris wasn't a teddy bear. He was an enormous, hairy, scary grizzly bear. Miss Cluck told Boris she'd give him his uniform tomorrow and found him a seat next to Maxwell. But as he sat down, there was a loud crack. It made Maxwell hide his face in his paws. "Oh, Boris," said Mrs. Cluck, "why don't you sit on the floor instead?" Poor Boris. Miss Cluck gave Boris a new book and a pencil. He was very proud indeed. With a big friendly grin, Boris turned to show the mice. But Boris forgot how fierce his teeth were. He forgot how big his paws were. And he forgot how sharp his claws were. Somehow, the mice got scattered around the classroom. Somehow, the pages of the new book got ripped. Somehow, there was a panic everywhere. "Boris is too big," cried one little mouse. "Boris is too hairy," yelled another. "Boris is too scary," they all squealed together. "Oh, Boris," said Mrs. Cluck, "please try to be more careful." Poor Boris, this isn't his fault. What's a bear to do? At lunchtime, everyone sat together. There was not enough room on the bench for Boris, but nobody moved over. So he sat all by himself and dipped his big paw into a large jar of honey his mommy had packed for him. When lunchtime was over, Mrs. Cluck said to everyone, "Go off and play." The mice began a game of hide and seek. Everyone ran to find a place to hide, but Boris was too big. Look, he can't hide behind a tree. So Boris shut his eyes and counted instead. 1, 2, 3, "Coming to get you," Boris boomed. Maxwell ran crying to Mrs. Cluck. His voice must have been too loud. "Let's go inside and play some quiet games," said Mrs. Cluck. "And Boris, please try to be less scary, dear." Poor Boris. The animals sat together in a circle. There was no space for Boris. Boris had nobody to play with and nobody to talk to. Tears filled his big brown eyes, rolled down his long nose, and splashed to the floor. "I'm a scary bear," he sniffed. "I'm a hairy bear," he sobbed. "I'm just a great big grizzly bear." It seemed like a very long afternoon. Poor Boris. At last, it was time to go home. Miss Cluck stood and waved as the animals set off through the woods. Letitia hopped along the bank. Maxwell scampered through the leaves. Fergus chased the little mice around a tree. Boris plodded along far behind. Suddenly, from a hollow tree leapt the Rat Pack! Oh no, who are the Rat Pack? Well, well, if it isn't the Crybabies, said the meanest rat. Letitia, Maxwell, Fergus, and the mice trembled while the Rat Pack circled around them. The rats didn't see Boris plodding along the path. All Boris could see was lots of excitement ahead. He wanted to join the fun. Boris stood up tall to greet the new friends with his biggest, widest bear grin. Uh-oh. Yikes! It's a hairy bear! Help! It's a scary bear! Quick, run! It's a hairy, scary grizzly bear! The rotten rats ran away as fast as their skinny legs could carry them. But I only wanted to say hello, called Boris. When Boris turned around, the other animals cheered. Boris is a hairy bear, they sang. Boris is a scary bear, they chanted. We're so glad that Boris is our grizzly bear. Suddenly, Boris felt very shy. If you're going to be a bear, he said very gently, then it's probably best to be a hairy, scary grizzly bear. The next day at school, the animals couldn't wait to tell Mrs. Cluck how Boris had saved them from the nasty Rat Pack. "Oh, Boris," said Mrs. Cluck, "what a good bear you are." At story time, everyone rushed to gather around Mrs. Cluck. There wasn't much room for once Boris sat down, but the rest of the class didn't mind one bit. Look, they're all sitting around Boris, too. They all had a soft, warm place to sit after all. Look, they're sitting on Boris. Oh, I'm so happy that Boris was able to make friends with all the kids in his class. And I'm glad they all start to get along, just like all of you. All right. Well, thank you for joining me for reading time. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.